Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Psychic Tarot Show with Ashala here on the Beyond Mystic platform. So here we are together, folks, once again, coming to you live on YouTube and Rumble. Hi there, Lubo, Frederick. Welcome, welcome. I'm really very intrigued about what's going to come forward for all of us together today as we explore what's happening in our world and see what our collective spirit guides want to bring our attention to, how we can stay grounded, stay connected, support each other in this very, very powerful time of a lot of chaos and great change. So before we get started, I would like to remind you, of course, to please like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. And also, you can find your personal consultation with me right here, Psychic Tarot Reading with Ashala. And check the coupon code below, Beyond Mystic, all in capital letters, offers you a 10% discount on a session with me. And I am opening up some spaces in this upcoming week. So I'd love to see you there. We're really doing some amazing work collectively right now. And so many people that are booking with me are finding ways to work with what's happening in the world to, I want to say, connect with their spirit guides, connect with their ancestors, and feel really guided with some very, very specific guidance around what they should do with their homes, their livelihood, their resources, their money, where they're investing. We look at answers to all those kinds of questions, as well as questions about more spiritual and esoteric things like past lives and star ancestry and things like that. So we run the full gamut in these sessions. And for those of you that have had a session with me, you might want to put something in the comments about how that's supported you or helped you, because I think, it feels like it's a time where this kind of guidance in so much uncertainty could be really helpful. And I want to just bring forward this message. We're looking at a forecast for this upcoming week, which is October 5th to the 12th. And one of the great messages that is coming through for me at this time is that it's easy to get thrown into chaos with all the news, all what we're being surrounded with. Our prayers are with you for those of you who are, down in the Southeast United States. And it feels like we all want to do so much. This is what I'm hearing. Everybody feels like, what can I do? How can I help this great change? Things are getting wild out there. And if we spread ourselves so thin that we lose ourselves in that chaos, it's not very helpful. So what I've really been receiving insights about this week, and while I'm sharing that, I'll start shuffling the cards so we can lay out the wheel, is that it's very important for us each to stay in our lane. And what I get around that is, it's what is your greatest value? What is your greatest skill? What do you uniquely bring to the table? Not everybody can be lobbying and politically active activists. Not everyone can have a spiritual calling to be a healer. Not everyone is going to be growing food or guiding others about how to invest in new currencies. We all have a different, I want to say, purpose. And when you put all of us together in the big picture, we create the whole change. And I think that people are feeling like they have to do it all. And obviously, if you're called to do a lot of different things in response to what's going on, that's beautiful. It just feels like when you get overwhelmed and have that feeling of, what can I do to change what's going on? Or a despair about, I can't do anything to change what's going on. This to me feels like you want to get really connected to what your unique contribution is. And I'm going to be talking a lot in this next few months about contributionism because it's something that I value. I see as going to be a big part of how we birth our new earth in terms of what has value and how we share that value. And it's not going to be so much even barter and trade and exchange. It's going to be bringing forward what you do best and giving that as freely as you can afford to do. Now, I hear some of you saying, well, I don't know what I do best, or I thought this is what my purpose was, but now I'm not so sure. This feels to me like a great time, and maybe this is a great week. Let's have a look to really tune in with your own heart and your higher self, your oversoul, your creator, and see if you can get into exploring more about what your unique value, your unique gifts are. It can be as simple as the things that you love to do. When you give yourself time away from worrying, what lights you up? And yeah, we'll talk a little more about that, I think, because I think that's going to come up for this week. So let's start off our great wheel of the week. And we're looking at justice in the house of Aries, justice in the house of self. I'm going to make it bigger. Let's have a look here. There we go. Justice in the house of Aries. Okay, so balance, but also karma. And of course, we're seeing a lot of, I want to say, karmic cause and effect happening out in the world. And it doesn't always make sense to us. We can see a lot of tragedy, a lot of suffering, and we can say, why? Why would our creator allow this to happen? And there is something about pulling out a little further from this question and again, going into this feeling of a greater faith that there is a divine wisdom and a great mystery to how things are unfolding here. And it's our part to take part in the way that we can bring positive change to what's happening. And if you can't think of a way to do that, they're saying, please don't waste your energy in lamenting and despair because you're pulling the energy down. So it's a karmic time. There's a lot of balancing. Meg and I were talking in the As Above, So Below show about this, season of the eclipses and this whole energy of Libra, which is our relationships to each other, but also to our destiny. It's kind of like our relationship to our purpose as well. And there's going to be a lot of leveling of what your ego thought was your purpose, and a lot of coming into seeing what needs doing and saying, yeah, I'm good at that. I could fill that gap. I could respond to the crises, to the emergency in this way. Yeah, Hi, Unruffled Grace. Wowza. The Justice card, Major Arcana in the first house, the house of Aries, the house of self, the ego. So yeah, our egos are going through it this week. It's a lot of, we talked last week about our fear of mortality, and this is, so we're off to a powerful start with this Justice card. Let's see where we go next in terms of Taurus. Okay, another Major Arcana. In the house of Taurus, we have Temperance. Thank heavens. Thank the heavens that we have grace in the area of security and resources. There's something about people coming together in their times of struggle. There's something about the healing that's happening in the heart of humanity as we find ourselves yeah, it's interesting. I'm being shown the 2 cups here. Do you see that? Trying to find balance or needing to claim the balance that's required to stand in your integrity. There's the other balance. Do you see those, the scales, the Libran scales of justice? So we've got 2 balancing cards again. Wasn't that a theme 2 weeks ago? So we're still in this balance energy. Hi, Crystal, Sarah Jane, early morn. Lovely to see you all here. Oh, goodness, we're really cooking now. We have our 3rd Major Arcana in a row. And for those of you that are not familiar with the cards, when we get Major Arcana stacked up like this, there's 22 of them out of 78 cards in the tarot. They are the grand architects, the really potent archetypal guides, kind of like our major spirit guides. And when a lot of them show up, it's clear that we're going to need them, right? So it's kind of like we're going, oh, thanks for being there. And yeah, thanks. I got the memo. I know I'm going to need you. Well, look at this. Gemini rules communication. Guess what? So does the Magician. So in the house of communication, ideas, sharing of information. Wow. Very, very positively aspected with that Temperance angel on one side. So we're going to be really looking to balance out. There's a lot of challenging media going on right now. Yes, we all agree to that. It doesn't really matter where you look in terms of back channels or mainstream media. It's pretty wild out there right now, right? Everything from chaos and weather and politics and, a lot of what we've been looking at for a long time, but it just feels like it's getting up to this heated crescendo of wildness. And I've had lots of people contacting me with some really serious fear-based, I want to say extreme fear-based paranoia coming up. And it's absolutely understandable, totally understandable. Yes, because when we're in this like heightened, like everything flying at us, gosh, it's just like we get caught up in the frenzy of that. But this Magician is here to tell us that we have mastery over how we communicate and what we share. And we want to balance a lot of what's going on out in the world of communication right now. We want to balance it with really good, positive information. And I used to say, back like 30, close to 30 years, 25 years at least ago, when I was waking up and taking in a lot of really intense information back then. It was so much for me. I would get so, I want to say, kind of almost possessed by the fear and the negativity of it, that it literally felt like a type of possession. And I learned pretty quickly on that I needed to balance that with the opposite. Like we're doing some extreme, I want to say, digging here. We're digging really deep. We're like literally bringing so much old, dark stuff to the surface. And we need to balance that with its counterpoint, which is the most inspired, beautiful, good news stories of what's working. What is positive? And this week, we're being asked to balance out the negative information with at least as much, or if not more, positive information. And for some reason, the guides are telling me it's sort of like when you tell yourself, like they say, if you drink a cup of coffee, you should have 2 cups of water to balance out all the, heavy acidity and all of that, the effect on your body. Well, that's kind of like that. They're saying for each one piece of very, very, I want to say dark, intense, thought-provoking, deeply activating, and potentially fear-creating media, we want to have 2 that are beautiful. And I'm not just talking about, cute animal videos. I mean, absolutely, that's so lovely and delightful. But I'm talking about, like, let's dig this week to get the good news stories. Let's dig in and see if we can just plaster the internet with solutions, with amazing, like, up-leveled new ways and things that are going well, successes, innovative things. So while all this is going down, it's almost like people's minds and hearts are open. And we're talking the masses, right, on Earth. Like, there's nothing like a lot of crises to sort of open everybody. So if they're open, let's put in these beautiful temperance energy of solutions and just great content, great information. I'm not saying that the truth stuff and a lot of the darker stuff is not equally valuable. I'm just saying we're a little bit top heavy with it right now, and we need the balance to equalize that. We need to create some equilibrium. Okay, so there we go. Discernment, the power of this Queen of Swords. What are you letting into your home through your mind? So you could literally say your computer, or if you're still watching a television, it's sort of like a portal into your home and into your mind. And they're saying, like, really guard that gate this week. Really say, if I'm going to do something with this information, then yes, I will watch it. But I'm not just going to take in any more. I'm not just going to take in the concerning information more and more and more and more and more. It's almost like you're making a boundary at the door of your house. It's sort of like they're saying, would you let in all these wild characters? Would you open your door and say, yeah, come on in? Because your computer and your television are an open door into your mind and your psyche. So you're saying, yeah, come on in. And it's not about, like, we should never let anything in. We should never be open to seeing what's going on in the world. But there comes a point where we have to take responsibility for how wide open is that door, and who's monitoring what comes in, and how much is it balanced. Yeah, so it's like they're showing me you've got this queen there that is saying, I'm going to sort of do intake on what's coming in, and I'm going to make sure that we don't just over ingest too much of the challenging stuff. So that's so interesting. I'm thinking already of how I can adjust my upcoming week to purposefully pay attention and even go looking for more of what I want and less of what I'm afraid of. Does that make sense? Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi, Tanya. Lovely to see you, dear. Lorella, yeah, only love. I mean, love has many faces, right? It's like, I think we've gotten a little bit caught up in looking at all the challenging stuff, and we've forgotten that there's a whole lot of amazing things on this planet right now. There's amazing, innovative, solution-based stuff going on. People are doing such extraordinary things, like some of the best healing, some of the best, new systems of building community and designing cooperatives and collectives and regenerative agriculture, and just amazing, innovative ways of looking after ourselves and getting off this grid system that we've been locked into. And if we are not looking at those things, if we're just looking at the broken system and going, who's fixing it and how soon is that going to happen? We're missing the opportunity. It's almost like this tight spot that we're in. It really is an invitation for us to go further and look deeper, for make the most of this pressure cooker that we're in. Okay. Oh, another major arcana. They are lining up to hold hands with us through this week ahead, folks. And it's a small world after all. It's also a liberated world. So we've got the world dancer. Do you see how I want to say, well, she's pretty open, isn't she? She's literally unclothed and stepping through this opening to basically stepping into a new upgraded version of the world. She's leading us through this. It's like a rebirth card. And it's the final major arcana card. It's in the house of Leo. Leo has to do with us basically opening our hearts and really showing up with all our courage to be the best we can be, to show up and not make excuses, to live our big, bold, beautiful lives. So really powerful. Something about it's a small world. We're feeling connected. And another card of balance. Do you see how she's holding those two rods, one in each hand, in order to stay balanced as she births herself? Okay, so we are being reborn and staying balanced between this shadow, dark, old cabal system and new earth, which isn't entirely born yet. So this is the question that's being posed to all of you. Yeah, and ruffled grays, right? Holy moly, 4 major arcana, almost all in a row, right? We have the Queen of Swords in the middle there. So this is the question that's being posed to you. The question is, and I'd like to hear your responses to this question, do we need to completely dismantle the old before we can build the new? Right? Do we need to make sure the old system is done and dusted before we can turn our attention away from that and start building? I want to hear your thoughts on that. Put your comments in the comment box and we'll have a look at that together. Another major arcana. Whoa, 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 whoa. upgrade, rebirth. Okay, my camera is just freaking out. It can't even focus. There's just so much excitement going on here. Oh my goodness, right? No way. Yeah. 5 major trump cards. Yeah. So funny. Literally, my camera is having a hard time focusing on this. So we have the house of Virgo, and Virgo is our health, our habits, lifestyle, the little details of our lives. Isn't that bizarre? It's literally not focusing. Let me see if I can make it focus. Ah, okay, little camera, calm down. Yeah. Oh, there it did it again. So, judgment in the house of Virgo. Well, it's a real invitation to upgrade your lifestyle. Virgo is really about your day-to-day life. What do you spend your time doing? What do you spend your time doing? So I'm just so curious that this wants to do this. I wonder if I take it out of full screen. Hold on, bear with me here for a minute, everybody. I'm going to take it off. And then I'll try adding it back on. Oh, then I'll try adding it back on. Sorry, that was it's got my camera, it's got my mic on it too. Just have to take and then add me back. No, it is still really blurry. I'm not really sure what's happening. Well, oh, that helped, I think. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Like, I kid you not, I feel like way back, if some of you have been watching me for like maybe 3 years, I think back in 2022, I had a crazy, it was like 9 major arcana or something in the overview. It was pretty wow. This is definitely, we're already at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're all on the bottom. So the bottom of this wheel spread is a lot about where we're at right now. It's kind of like what we're bringing into this coming week. So there's a big opportunity for us to recreate, rebirth, especially in the area of our health and our lifestyle and our habits. Now, I know people get tired of me just laboring on about this, but it's one of the areas that you can control no matter who you are. You have more control over what you eat and how you spend your time than you do over just about anything else. And so health, habits, and lifestyle, right? Health, habits, and lifestyle. Those 3 things are things that you can immediately up-level. And if everybody watching right now immediately up-leveled in this next, well, let's say 3 or 4 weeks, it's almost like a challenge is being put down to us. A gauntlet is being thrown down. And it has to do with our frequency and what we can hold. It's easier to pull us down mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually if we're already kind of on a lower vibration. And so, am I talking about, extreme purification diets or, zero media watching or anything like that? No, I'm not talking about extremes, but I'm talking about going that extra mile and really not only doing this because, maybe you want to lose a bit of weight or you have a health problem that you want to address, but thinking of it as we're all doing this. We're all doing this. It's almost like we're making a pledge right here today on this live that we're all going to do our very best and kind of hold ourselves and each other accountable in this. Like, it's not accountable in a shaming way, but like, hey, if you start to feel like, oh, who cares? I can do that next month. Just think about how many people that are really holding the line. And again, you might feel like, oh, I don't know what changing my lifestyle and my health and my diet and my habits is really going to do to change what's going on in the planet. Well, one thing is that it is something you can do, right? We talked about that at the very beginning. I was given a very clear message in the last 48 hours. Everybody stay in your lane. Know your lane. Who are you? What are your strengths? And if you're not in your kind of optimum health, if you're not really like vibrating at a pretty good frequency for yourself, it's really hard to, I want to say, engage with your destiny, to step into more of your purpose. If you're just running on empty or being slowly eroded with your frequency getting pulled down with a combination of basically negative media watching, too much sugar and junk food and whatever, right? It's like those kinds of things we know. Most of you watching would probably fall into the category of empaths, meaning that you are attuned to the world, you're attuned to reality, you're pretty open energetically and psychically, and therefore, you can hold a high frequency, but you're probably quite susceptible to your frequency being pulled down dramatically by engaging in lifestyle habits that other people can do and have no issue whatsoever, right? I know Crystal was on here earlier and she will agree that we've been watching this phenomena in our family for years. We're like, okay, we have to be so careful about what we eat and what we watch and, what kind of toxic energies we're exposed to. And other people can just like live through those things and not even bat an eyelash and still carry on functioning. And we're like, so easily in a way thrown off. But also, the other side of that coin is that we can hold higher and higher and higher energetic frequency and presence and do great healing work with that energy. Many of you are like that too. So this is a call to arms, a call to action this week. Health, diet, lifestyle. Care about it. Care about lifting and elevating your frequency. Okay, I'm really on a rant, aren't I? Keep going, Ashala. All right, another swords card. So we've broken the trend of 2 more major arcana in a row. Now we're in the house of Libra. Communication, a good week for clearing the air, for stating your feelings, your needs, your desires clearly without being triggered, without being confrontational. Nonviolent communication skills training. I'm always advocating for that. If you don't know what it is, look it up. Nonviolent communication skills training. This is a good way to clear the air in relationships, particularly in serious business relationships and or life partner relationships. It's also a time to move in a good direction. You see this character is moving out of the troubled water. You see the troubled water in the forefront. Nice, placid, relaxed water into the distance there. So we are using our best communication skills. I mean, are you going to be good at communicating this week or what? This could be a week to fix or heal or repair so much in the area of relationships. Just know that you may be finding it easier this week to communicate and not upset people than usual. So, yeah. Thanks for your input, everybody. Okay, we are at the halfway point, and while we're talking about empaths, this is an interesting segue over here, right? So I'm just going to bring up this information. Let me get it on here. Hold on. Give me a sec. All right, so here we go. We are looking at this empath course. So it's exactly what I was just talking about. And Jens is doing this. So let me just describe to you what we're saying about this. Join Jens on this transformational journey to embrace your empathic abilities, find balance, isn't that interesting, and grow spiritually and emotionally. The empath course is 50% off with the promo code BALANCE50, all capital letters. So you can find that at the Beyond Mystic Academy. Very, very cool. And I think that's just such a natural thing for those of us that are empaths to be learning. And I think it's going to talk about, I haven't done this course with Jens, but I assume that there's going to be some discussion about how important it is, because we are like these, I want to say, frequency antennae beings. We really tune in to what's out on the airwaves, right? So we really easily can be, our energy can easily be affected by that. So there's things, it doesn't mean that you never watch the media that has all the truth information in it, that has all the, hidden agendas and dark secrets and all that kind of stuff. It just means that you are going to need to, if you're going to ingest that, you're going to need to really balance it out with other information that lifts your frequency. Okay, so we've got in Scorpio, endings and new beginnings, death and rebirth, 5 of Wands, the creative chaos card. Now we're heading up into, I want to say, kind of like where this week is taking us. 5 of Wands. It's an ongoing struggle, but there's never a reason to shut off your innocence. There's never a good enough reason to disconnect from your self-care and self-love. Really, self-care and self-love is what's going to not only help us survive and get through all of this craziness, but also to be effective in doing what we came here to do, to be effective in fulfilling our life purpose. So you're not, by caring for yourself, you're not being selfish and ignoring what's going on in the world. You're actually creating a healthy frequency within yourself so that you can be of service, so you can do what you came here to do. It's so cool. So yeah, it's going to be the inner battle, Scorpio, endings and new beginnings, 5 of Wands is creative chaos. But you'll notice these characters look like they are training for something. People look at it, they go, oh no, they're fighting. There's going to be a lot of fighting. And I say, no, they're not fighting. They're training. They're training. They're training energetically to be able to hold more energy and not be thrown off balance, right? There's that Temperance angel right across from these 5 Wands. They're training to be able to sustain more frequency, more disruption without being thrown off. All right, next card, another minor arcana here, a court card, the second queen that showed up today. This Queen of Cups in the house of Sagittarius, in the house of Sagittarius. So our sense of expansiveness and our sense of adventure and exploration and evolving and growing, it's pretty inwardly focused this week. I feel like we had maybe the Hermit there last week or something, so a bit more of the same this week. Your real exploration is the inner world and the emotional world, the relational world. So getting in touch with your feelings and being able to talk about them, that is one of the premises in nonviolent communication training, is that you start by really getting in touch with your needs. If you don't know what you need, you're just out there pointing fingers and getting frustrated with people, and you don't even know where you're at and what your feelings are and what your needs are. So getting in touch with feelings and needs is the beginning of knowing how to advocate for what it is that you need. Feelings, this, I want to say, Sagittarius is also about truth. It's also about not letting yourself down by continuing to ignore things that have been upsetting you for a really long time. And look at this. Across from this Queen of Cups is that Magician. So again, you may have an opportunity to repair something relationship-wise that's been bothering you for a long time. And it does feel like, I mean, I get what I'm being shown. It's not so much that you have to show up and like say, okay, I figured out everything and here's what I have to offer and here's my resolution, take it or leave it. It feels more like just reaching out and saying, I'm thinking of you and I would like to converse, and I feel like it's time for that. How do you feel? And then you just take sort of like go back and forth with the other person, and you basically are prepared to go deep and talk a lot about your feelings and needs that you've already figured out what they are. But you're not trying to control the whole conversation. You're really inviting conversation, not just sitting someone down and telling them a piece of your mind. So you need to know that piece of your mind. You need to know for yourself. What do they say about those letters that we write to others? A lot of times it's for us to really be clear about where we stand. And then you don't necessarily have to get all that out in one go, but you can take a good step towards it this week. This feels like a great week for healing, communication, relationship, still having your boundaries. It's not about going, oh, everything is forgiven and come on in and do whatever you want. It's about like this, whatever it is, you're still feeling it, you're still carrying around, and you're just invoking or opening up the dialogue with a genuine open heart. Yeah. Okay. And oh, the nicest card. I'm going to move this down a little bit. The very nicest card to have up there in our house of Capricorn is this beautiful Two of Wands. How incredible. I love it. The reason I love it is because the house of Capricorn, Capricorns are known as the sign of the goat. And one of the things they're known for is to be able to climb to high vantage points. They're motivated to kind of rise above limitation and really push themselves to new heights. It also gives them a vantage point where they can take a survey of the lay of the land and decide what best action to take. It's probably, there's a reason why the house of Capricorn is the top house on the zodiac wheel, because it's quite mature and far thinking, right? The Capricorns have this ability to say, well, it might take 30, 40, 50 years, but I'm in for the long haul because I see the great vision. I see the big picture. I see all that. And I'm not addicted to instant gratification. I'm willing to put the time in to achieve those bigger, farther ahead, longer reaching goals. And part of that is because Capricorns push themselves to go to the top and get that bird's eye view. This is a week where we do that with our destiny. We do that with this is the house of self-actualization and destiny. You know, you can call it career and work in the world and stuff like that. But at this juncture where we're at, I feel like career doesn't quite cover as enough, right? It's bigger than that. It's kind of like your life purpose and your destiny. And so here we have this big picture overview, seeing things as they really are. So this truth-telling Queen of Cups, she's very intuitive. You're going to have a sense this week of you won't be able to hide the big picture or the real truth from yourself. And that's okay. That's okay. You're actually in a place where you can handle looking at the bigger picture like you haven't maybe been for quite a long time, maybe ever this lifetime. So there's the courage. You know, a lot of people don't like being up high, right? Because it's scary. You look down, you're like, oh, I don't like it. It's too big. Well, we're going to be less afraid of the heights of the big picture this week. Yeah. So let's work our way towards the end of this week's forecast. 4 Pentacles in the house of Aquarius. Our networks, our friends, our allies, our reputation. Everybody's a little bit locked in, right? I've sure been seeing this with my friend circle. Everybody's just really working on creating stability. We're all sort of in this, like, locked into this, like, get the pantry stocked, make sure there's, you know, like think about the finances and think about security and think about material security and getting a solid base under us and all that kind of stuff. So people are maybe not feeling as socially gregarious or open because everybody's kind of fixated on a bit of survival focus right now. And you know, let's see what's on the other side of that in Pisces, because we'll see what this guy is squeezed between. I mean, he is across from the world, so it can't be that bad, right? I mean, this is a pretty nice line between 4 of Pentacles and the world. Like, you know, it's okay. It feels like this is a time to kind of hunker down over the 4-month period, maybe starting about a month ago and going to the end of the year. Something around that feels about right. Our last, whoa. Okay, I'm going to just talk to you a minute about this phenomena, because we've got the High Priestess in the house of Pisces. Okay, so why am I making a big fuss about that? Well, there are certain cards that we want to say in astrology, it's called being exalted. When it's in its favorite place, okay, it's exalted. So cards that love to be in the house of Leo are the Strength card. It's got a lion on it. The Sun loves to be in that house. Cards that love to be in the house of Libra, relationship, the Lovers, maybe Justice as well, kind of likes to be there because it's a lot about justice. Cards that love to be in the house of Sag, creativity, travel, exploration, maybe the King of Wands, he's super dynamic and creative, or the Queen of Wands, and maybe the Chariot for travel. Well, we already talked about, we have cards that would like to be in the house of Gemini. The Magician. The Magician loves to be in the house of Gemini. It's his favorite place. And Gemini loves to have the Magician there. It's like they're just doing the happy dance. Like the Magician has found his way into his exalted house, which means he's going to do better there than he would in any of the other houses. He's going to really like just be able to think clearly and express clearly and like really focus on what information is coming in. And similarly, where does the High Priestess want to be of anywhere on this wheel? What would be her favorite house? Pisces. And what would be Pisces' favorite card to have in its own house? The High Priestess. So what does that mean? It just means she's going to work so well for us this week. More like it's sort of like a double blessing because she's in her favorite position. And what does she do? Well, she is our ancestors. She connects us to our history. She is our subconscious, our deep subconscious. She is our intuition. She is more than all of those things, our dreams. So all of those areas, and she's across from this big wake up in the house of Virgo. So all of those areas of your life are really expanded this week. I mean, we've got karma, we've got the big wake up, and another major arcana. So she's going to help us. She's going to be like, I wouldn't be surprised if some of your ancestors show up in dream time, or you just feel like they're with you and working with you, helping you go through these challenging times, all this chaos, finding security, but also not getting your frequency pulled down, right? We're doing this work. So I want to leave us with some tasks. The guides are saying it would be good for me to kind of leave you with homework for the week. From here on, I'll try to remember to do that every week. So the homework this week is really watching what you're watching and saying, if I'm going to take in challenging, scary stuff, I got to do twice as much of inspiring stuff. And if you don't know where to look for it, get on researching, looking into the areas that you feel you're called to be involved in, things that you feel you might have a little talent with or that you're inspired by, and just go down those rabbit holes. Yeah, go down those rabbit holes because you're going to get a lot out of your research this week. Also a great week to upgrade in terms of your healthy lifestyle, diet, and habits. We're going to hold each other to it. We're all going to know that we're not alone doing this. We're all looking across energetically across the ethers and going, yeah, I know it's hard. We all want comfort when there's chaos. And we're being asked to just maybe take some breaths, do a different type of comforting practice. And it's not about, eradicating everything and going down to zero. It's just like, let's just calm everything down and not just run off in terms of overindulging in whatever it is. And we're looking at this big picture, keeping this elevated perspective and timing, really recognizing that timing is on our side. Interesting. And finally, be prepared to be inspired, both intuitively and in dream time, by guides, ancestors, potent dreams that are supporting you to stay balanced and continue elevating your frequency in all of this chaos. Okay. And the final card, oh boy. Yeah. So it's rainy season. All that Pisces, right? The astrologers have been talking about it. It's rainy season, not only literally with all the water and flooding and storms, but it's psychic raining season. So carry an umbrella, because there's a lot raining down on us energetically, psychically, and that's partly what is the umbrella, you ask? Well, it is staying in your high frequency. And have you ever noticed, I don't know about you, but I notice if I just overindulge in media watching, even if it is just lighthearted media, but if I kind of have one of those days where I lay on the couch and do nothing and watch media for a lot of hours, I kind of feel sort of yucky for a couple of days after. It's just like I have a hard time kind of getting into my higher frequency, doing my good practices. I have a harder time, just staying in my heart. I feel just a little bit more sort of jagged and miserable overall. And then, of course, if it's raining and gloomy and there's a lot of doom and gloom on the media, it's worse, right? Then it's just like downward spiral. So this is where we're at the task of kind of keeping that umbrella up this week psychically, which is just not letting all of that energy in. And again, we had this Queen of Swords down at the home base saying, nope, we're going to not let all this psychic rain into our minds, our psyches, and our hearts. So it's not about, don't drink any alcohol or eat sugar or junk food or don't watch any media, but just really pay attention to not getting pulled down into that vortex. And if you do, look for the things that will kind of realign you. My daughter Crystal can attest to, I've really been, because I expect so much from myself at this time. So I've really had to work very, very diligently at not what we call not going out of gear. And, because I'm demanding so much from myself psychically and emotionally and energetically and creatively and productively. It's a lot. And I can almost not afford very much of a misstep to one side or another, or I'm like that. But what I've been really excited by in the last 3 or 4 months is I'm really learning when I start to go sideways, like, oh no, I'm going out of gear. Oh no. Instead of just like more, more comfort foods, more things that, I'm trying to fill that void or trying to recapture something, instead of just like going down with that. I just look to something that I know is going to really quickly alter my state in a good way. And sometimes I really have to push myself for that, right? It's like I'm going out for a walk in nature, maybe even a little run in nature, where I have to breathe deep. Maybe I'm going to hike up those stairs a couple of times, or dive into the really cold water at the lake or at the river. I have to do something to really kind of pop myself out of that, because just a cup of tea or a bath or a 15-minute meditation are maybe not quite enough when I start tilting like that. I'm like, no, I got to do something. I got to push myself. And there's a little bit of that this week, right? With this judgment in the house of Virgo, pushing, just finding something that will quickly elevate your state and get you out of this, because there's a lot of whirlpools. All this water spinning on the planet right now, all this flooding, and think about the hurricane energy. It is a giant spiraling whirlpool. Tornadoes, whirlpool. So it's almost like this vortex of sucking energy down. And in order to kind of free ourselves from that, there's a lot of them, right? Look at this. There's 7 here of those spiraling whirlpools. And in order to not get pulled down, it's almost like we go this way and there's one there, and we go this way and there's one there. And so in order not to get pulled down, we've got to stay in this sort of above. It's almost like they're showing me the layers energetically and saying, a lot of this storm is happening in the lower atmosphere, and we need to sort of rise above that frequency metaphysically. The storms that are happening in the lower metaphysical atmosphere, we need to elevate above that frequency where we can breathe deeply and keep our bearings. So it's been amazing, everybody, to share with you as always. Let's just sign off here with a little bit more information. So we're going to come back to, we got to talk about this for a minute. Let's have a look at the Beyond Mystic Conference. I don't know if I can make it smaller. Oh, hold on. I saw what I did. I'm sorry. My camera my mic went away. I apologize. I did that thing again. Okay. So we're going to put up this. Oh, how do I get it up there? There we go. Did it. So let's talk about the Beyond Mystic Conference here for a moment. So I really hope that some of you are going to be joining us. I feel like this conference is going to be, the timing of it, the alignments of what's going to be birthing and opening up for us energetically, personally, collectively at that time feel really right on. So this conference is going to be in Ottawa in March of 2025. Tickets are on sale now. You can find them here, early bird prices and limited spaces to get your tickets at this beyondmystic.net/conference. And finally, I will just remind you that if you would like to book a session with me, you can find me here, Psychic Tarot Card Reading with Ashala, 1-hour session, and I have some space opened up in my schedule next week. Would love to meet you there. And until next week, everyone, good luck with everything. Have a beautiful week and utilize some of this incredible, strong archetypal major arcana guidance to support your journey this week. Bye for now, everybody.